Oh, it is well when I can see the rain. Oh, it is well when I can see the gain. It is well when troubles weigh me down. It is well. 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 When my soul, it is well. It is well. Oh, it is well. It is well. It is well. Oh, I know. It is well. Yes, it is. You are my strength in weakness, light in darkness, capable God. I trust in you. My God, my helper, all around me. I am a product of grace. It is well when I can see the rain. When I can see the rain. It is well when I can see the rain. Now I can see your face. It is well when troubles weigh me down. You let me feel. Oh, it is well. Oh, it is well. It is well. I got peace in your word. So much confidence in you. It is well. Yeah. It is when some say there's a casting down, we will say there's a lifting up. We believe and say it is well. It is well. Sing it. When some say there's a casting down, there's a lifting up for you. We will say there's a lifting up. Just believe, and say it is well.
It is well, it is well, it is well. How's everybody doing? Happy Sunday evening to each and every one of you. This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Hope you are all doing well. I know that I am. My name is Gregory Bloomfield, and this show is called Motivation Moments. And I'm very happy to be your host today. Everybody on YouTube and on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, if you can share the link, like, share, and subscribe to this channel, tell everybody that Motivation Moments is on right now. If you're on Facebook, follow the link, follow the channel, follow the page, so that way you can get notified as when the show is coming on. We're on every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, my name is Gregory Bloomfield. I'm going to show you something. I hope you had a good Father's Day. I got this amazing shirt, and I want to share it with you. And it kind of leads into our theme for today, because we have an amazing guest that I'll tell you about in a minute. But, you know, I'm a father. I got a son and a daughter, and a good friend of mine in the Chicago area gave me this shirt. It says, Dope Black Dad. Dope Black Dad. So shout out to all the dope black dads out there. Yeah, man, it's there. Us as black men get a bad rep on a lot of things, but I'm here to tell you, I believe in the bottom of my heart, there's more amazing fathers out there that look like me than bad ones. So yeah, to all the dope black dads out there, we shout out and we salute you. And we're going to be talking about fatherhood, stepfatherhood, blended families. That's what we're going to be talking about on this show. I want to also thank everyone who supported my books, who supported the 522 Man and the Father's Day bundle. It's still going on. The sale's still going on for up until June 30th. And also, you know, as P. Diddy once said, I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop. I co-wrote another book with the help of Dr. Paulette Harper, and the book's called Breaking the Silence, The Power to Unlock Your Voice. So I wrote a chapter dealing with my battle with imposter syndrome. Here's the promo right here. And for this weekend, you can be a sponsor of the book. It's only $20, and that includes shipping. And that promo to be a sponsor in the book, have your name in the book in the final publication, ends tonight at midnight. But you can still pre-order. The book will be available it'll be released in July, and it'll be shipped out in August. Oh, by the way, for those of you who pre-ordered 522 Man, I have your books. And I'm going to be mailing them out this week. And you can also get that book on my website, www.sisterpamelapublishing.com. Take a picture of that as it comes on the show, on the bottom right here on the Chiron, www.sisterpamelapublishing.com. There it is right there. Shout out to the amazing Alonda Kusamo, our producer. And also, starting in July, we're going to have a sponsorship program of this show. If you're interested in sponsoring and sewing into this so we can grow this platform and get more people to know about Motivational Moments, I want to hear from you. If you want to email me at bloomfieldting@gmail.com, we're working on the details of that sponsorship program, whether you're an advertiser and an individual. We would love your financial support. So God bless you in advance as you prayerfully consider supporting this ministry. Today, I have a really amazing guy coming on this show. If you remember When the Right One Comes, not the Clubhouse version, but the YouTube version with the men, I was one of the people on that show. Shout out to Bishop Greg Davis and all the brothers that are on that show. And you can still see that on YouTube. One of the brothers, there was a guy who had an amazing hat collection. He was a smooth talking brother. He was a real dope guy. And I got to know him pretty well. And he's going to be our guest today. His name is Nehemiah Johnson. Nehemiah Johnson is a youth pastor. I didn't know that. I just thought he owned a store. But he's a youth pastor of the Greater Little Rock Baptist Church in Pensacola, Florida. And salute to him because he is a U.S. Navy veteran. Nehemiah Johnson, he has his bachelor's in theology and biblical studies at Regent University, and he's the owner of the #1 Black-owned men's apparel store in Pensacola, Florida, called Viola's Apparel. Amen. He is a husband and he's a father of 5. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he is a proud alpha. He's a part of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. You will see how proud he is when we bring him on. He believes that Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. Sorry for all you LeBron fans. And he also believes that sugar does not belong on grits. I can't relate. I'm Jamaican. I eat cornmeal porridge. Praise the Lord. And his favorite scripture is Romans 8:28. All things work together for those that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So I am excited for the first time on Motivation Moments with Gregory Bloomfield, we will have my friend, my brother, Reverend Nehemiah Johnson Jr. Nehemiah, what's good, man?
Hey, good evening, my brother. It's all good, man.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for having me on the show.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I agree with you. Michael Jordan is the number one. Yeah.
It's just the truth.
I don't know what these new cats are talking about. LeBron is number. Come on, man. 6-0, bro. 6-0.
Numbers don't lie.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Michael Jordan is the number one player of all time. So I agree with you proudly. And as I said before, he's a proud alpha. You got it. Look at that shirt, man. Alpha South. Let's go.
All six to the good brothers.
All right. You do all that stepping with the cane. And I came from Canada. We don't have fraternities. We didn't have all that when I was coming up. So I envy those who had the educational experience at a black college in the United States. I
appreciate it. Well, let's see. Kappas use canes.
Okay.
Cap. That's our little brothers. You know what I'm saying? They use the cane. Alphas, we don't need none of that. We none of that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know. What's the sorority that is very much? Hey, Teresa, how are you? Who's very connected with alphas? Is it?
Yes, that's AKAs. That's the
AKAs.
women.
Yeah.
Hold on. I got to say it correctly because that's fam. His Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Listen, I got to say it correctly because I don't want no problems.
All right. Shout out to the Kappas. I know three. I know one here in Massachusetts. Yeah, man. She ended up becoming Miss. She's from Massachusetts, but she moved to Rhode Island and she was Miss Black Rhode Island. She was a Kappa. So alphas and Kappas, they got it going on. Shout out to both of you. Let's talk, man. Let's do this build. Let's talk about fatherhood, stepfatherhood, blended families, all that type of stuff. You are a father of 5, huh? A father of 5. Tell me, and I'm a father of 2, and you definitely are a dope black dad. So one of the things I want to ask you is, what makes you the most proud being a father? What is the thing that you can hold dear to you and say, yeah, being a father, being a dad, because there's a difference. So let's say being a dad is real cool, and I'm really proud of being a dad. What makes you proud?
Well, what makes me proud is just being able to hear my children laugh. As you said, I'm a father of 5, blended family. I brought 3 into the mix, and my wife brought 2. So now I'm a father of 5. And the ages range from 22 to 3. So,
oh wow,
yes. So it's a 22-year-old daughter, 20-year-old son, 18-year-old daughter, 10-year-old daughter, and 3-year-old son. So what makes me proud is being able to hear all of the children laugh. It doesn't take much for me. Hearing them laugh and hearing the joy that comes out of them, that is what makes me proud. Knowing that everybody, the oldest 3, everybody got through high school with honors on time, or I even have a daughter who graduated a year early. No children. I'm not a grandfather as of yet. I mean, there's so many things that makes me proud. Seeing them walk across those stages each and every time, or seeing even the little ones, come home with A's on their progress reports or report cards. I mean, it doesn't take much for me. I'm a sucker for kids and the elderly. Those if you want to touch me, kids and the elderly are two age groups that just brings my heart a lot of joy.
All right, cool. One of the things for me, and that's real dope, that you know, when the kids laugh, and even when they laugh at our bad jokes, because we got dad jokes, you know, it encourages us to do more, you know, for our kids. One of the things that I'm very proud of as a father, because I have a son, a 16-year-old son, and a 14-year-old daughter. And one of the things that makes me extremely proud is that they'll ask me first for things. I know that sounds weird because most of the times they ask me things that involve money, but I would rather them ask me than go to some, yeah, I'll say it, some ninja out there on the corner, or asking the wrong people or anything like that. It makes me really happy that they look at me so highly that they can ask me. Like last night, you know, my children were hungry and they wanted to, hey, Dad, can you get some honey Chipotle wings at Chipotle for me? And I'm like, I'm tired, but, you know, I'm happy that my baby girl asked me. So, and the gratitude that they showed me, that my dad came and surprised us. Well, not so much surprised us, but was able to make that sacrifice. Because, and I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back, but it would really bother me if my children never asked me for anything, or they depended on other people other than me for anything. So it's a good feeling, and it makes me want to work harder for them, you know?
True. Now, I will say this: there will come a time, or possibly a time, where your man child will get to that point where they feel like they got it, and once they feel like they got it, then they want to show their manhood and try not to ask you for stuff when you know that they actually need it from you, because you're still father no matter how old, how many hairs they get on their face.
Yeah.
So those are things you got to be watchful of. I'm in that process with one of the kids right now.
I'm experiencing that now, right now. I mean, my son, he's blossoming. I'm so proud of him, right? And as well as my daughter, I'm proud of my kids. One of the things is my son, I think he wants to blossom out as a man. So it's like, you know, up here to say, I'm all right, I'm all right, I'm all right. I know you're not all right. It's very clear that you're not okay, right? And you need my help, you need my guidance. But it's like, nah, Dad, I'm all right, I'm all right, I'm all right. And it's like, I'll give an example. Like one time, so my son is playing football. He plays cornerback for his high school. And I remember last year he had a summer league, and what ended up happening was I said, let me go buy some Gatorades for the team. The team colors were orange, so I was going to get orange Gatorades. And I told Thaddeus I was going to do that. And he was like, nah, Dad, nah, that's corny. Nah, don't do that, nah. And then it's like, I did it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, his friends were thirsty. And I was like, as soon as I came with them 12 packs of Gatorade, thanks, Mr. Bloomfield. Thanks, Mr. Bloomfield. And then that is like, yeah, thanks. it was like, yeah. And I was like, you see why I did that, son? I was like, yeah, thanks, Daddy. That was
right.
Dope. That was dope. That was dope. So,
it's the after the fact. Again, once they get to that age, they don't see it right then. But when you know, we say this, once it spin the block, once it comes back around, then it's just like, you know what? Yeah, thank you. I get exactly what you said.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was real cool. Listen, so you said that you're part of a blended family. Let's talk about stepfathers. Let's talk about being not so much the biological father, because I think we both got that. But in terms of being a stepfather, I was a stepfather. And unfortunately, that marriage ended, but I have some experience being a stepfather. But I wanted to ask you, what advice could you give a brother who may be listening, whether live or on the replay? And please share and subscribe and like and comment, interact with us, please, in the live. What advice could you give to somebody who currently is a stepfather, or somebody who is dating a woman who has children from a previous relationship and is thinking about taking the next step and jumping the broom with this lady? What advice could you give to being a successful stepfather?
Well, the advice I have in order to be a successful stepfather is, number one, be yourself.
Mhm.
Don't try to be anything else but yourself. Be your authentic self. That's one. Number two, not only do you try to be yourself, you just love on them as much as they will allow you to love on them. Don't try to smother them, but at the same time, love them as your own.
Mhm.
Don't try to separate them, because if as soon as you start to act like your your biological children are better than them, then that gap is hard to close.
Yeah.
So be yourself, love on them as much as you love your own biological children. Do those type of things with them, because they can see through the foolishness. You can even see babies. Babies, they don't go into anybody's arms. Babies, they'll cry, but I've met babies, and I've seen the baby was crying, and I just looked at the baby, and the baby stopped crying, because babies, they can feel that. So if
Mhm.
a baby can feel that, a 12-year-old can definitely look through your foolishness.
Yeah.
It's a foolishness. So those two things are key to being a successful stepfather.
Yeah, I agree completely. I want to add one more thing. I would say to be a good stepfather is to love their mother. The reason, one of the bet when I was a stepfather, I had so I was talking about my son and my daughter, but I also had two stepdaughters and one stepson. And my stepson said the following to me, and it still sticks with me to this day. He said, Gregory, first of all, and they were teenagers when I came into their life, I didn't pressure them to say dad. No, I'm not. They got their fathers. They no. I am a stepfather. You are not forced to call me dad. I'm not pressuring them. You don't call me uncle, call me dad. My name is Gregory, right? What my now former stepson said is this, and I hope someone's listening. If you treat their mother right, I believe everything will fall into place. If you want their children to really like you, number one, love their mom, and two, never make it a problem for them to still be their mother's child. Like, never cause the mother to feel that they have to choose, never, and encourage the relationship that they currently have with what your lady has with their children, right? You don't want to be a negative or a takeaway or subtraction to that relationship. You need to be an addition. If you love that mother and respect that lady, I personally believe, and I'm not taking away anything that you said, if you love their mother and treat her with respect in front of her children, they will end up loving you, right? They'll end up loving you, and everything will fall into place. And I can say, even though that marriage is not in a place right now, I can say I implemented that and I did have success in that area. So everything you're saying is correct. And I just wanted to add that other piece. Another thing I'll say, Nehemiah, and you could jump in this, is that, look, if you're not ready to date a woman with children, don't.
Completely agree.
Don't. Because children will start getting attached to you. Yeah. You know what I mean? You want to jump in on?
Oh, I'll say that's very, very true. For our dynamic, like I said, my youngest daughter just graduated high school a few weeks ago. So I would have been a empty nester right now. However, getting married and now having a child that's not even in kindergarten yet, and then one that's about to be in the fifth grade, totally different situation.
Yeah.
Now that I have babies in the house again, and there were people that said, you know, you gonna start all over. You okay? You know, how is it? Hey, it's an adventure. I tell my wife that all the time. It is an adventure. I know that I was blessed to be a great dad to
Mhm.
my children. I say my children, my adult children. I
Yeah.
was blessed to be a great dad to them, so I know that I could be a great dad to others. And so, hey, again, for the right one, uh, you'll bend backwards for any and everything that you said that you wouldn't do or you questioned. You'll do it, and It'll come easily for the right one.
Yeah. So that's a large gap. 22-3. That's 19. That is, yeah, that's a that's a large gap. Do you find, is it challenging to have 5 children together that are such a wide range in age? Like, what are some of the dynamics with that?
Well, all my children are at the house, and even when I approached them about getting married, my children they said, "Hey, and as long as you're happy, you know, we're going." So since we're going, you know, you do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Even in the house, um, my children even said, like my youngest daughter said, like, "Hey, um, they can have my room. You know, I'm going anyway. They can have the room."
Mm.
So she said that so that they wouldn't have to be, a boy and a girl wouldn't have to be in the same room. So when my children, when they said that, my daughter said that, it was just like, okay, they get it and they understand that, hey, again, we're gone, we're living our lives. So you all got it. And yeah, that's it. I mean, it's I'll say this. I'm My children are old enough to have children, but they're
Yeah.
not married. We want marriage before children.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Right. But everyone is old enough to have children at this point.
Right.
So to the fact that I have a 3-year-old son in the house, that's my little man. As soon as he wakes up, is daddy. I got you. You know, and he's on go as soon as he wakes up. So since he's on go, it just makes me laugh. I said, man, get off me. He said, nope. That's what he said first thing in the morning. Nope. And he holds on to me, and I love it. So yes, it is. It's different, but it's fun at the same time. But I love it.
Yeah, cool. We got a question in the audience. It says, and I'm going to pass it over to you, and then after this, we'll tackle it, and then we'll go to our commercial break. We'll pay some bills. So, how do you handle when the child feels like you are taking their parent away from them? How would you handle that? What advice could we give?
Great question. The way that you fix that is by reassuring the child that you're not. You're only loving that parent, their mother, their father. You're only loving them how they should be loved. And you let them know, like, hey, once you get older and you decide to get married, you would want the same thing that your mother and father want. So since you would want those things at that age when you get there, we're going to do those things now. And we're going to show you what love is all about. We're going to show you what relationship is about. We're going to show you what parenting and those things are about. We're going to show that to you. So since we're going to show that to you, that way, so when you get to that age, you'll be able to see, like, hey, if I end up in this situation that my mother or father is in with the blended family, I know what to do because I seen it with my own eyes.
Mhm. That's good advice. That's good advice. I would also add that include, when I was in a blended family situation, I read this book. I forget the author's name, but it was basically the step family plan. And the book said it takes on average 9 years for a step family, a blended family, to truly gel, right? It's not going to happen right away for most people. But one thing that can be done is reassure the child, but also spend quality time with that child. Try to bond with them, not smothering, like you said, loving their mother, like I said, but also, and this may sound crazy, but if you're going to go out on a date with your lady who has children, sometimes, where appropriate, include her kids. That way they feel included in the situation. Not always. Like if we go in somewhere where, an adult event or something like that, no, you're not bringing your 10-year-old. But it could be mini golf, or it could be, the amusement park, or even just walking in the park getting ice cream. Include them. Make them feel a part of this thing that you're growing as a blended family. Give them, that type of.
That's true. That's true. So what we do, we go to the frozen yogurt place. We go. We putt. We do those type of family things so that, again, they see what family is about. 3-year-old just came back home.
Oh, that's okay.
So because he was out with his biological father. He was out with him, so he's back. So y'all excuse me. So
that's fine. We know you got 5 kids. It's gonna be some sounds. It's good, man. It's healthy.
So do those type of things, again, because you don't want to show any type of favoritism. So you do those type of things with them and stuff, but at the same time, like I said, mama and daddy got to have their own time. So since we have to have our own time, like, hey, mom and daddy, we're going out tonight. We try to do a date night at least once a week, just me and her, and that's what we do. Hey, we see you all 6 days a week, and tuck you all in and say your prayers and do all those types of things. But on this night right here, mom and daddy, we're going to go have some fun with ourselves. So it's all about the balance.
Yeah, exactly. That's some dope advice. We're going to pay some bills. So we're going to run a few commercials on here. This is Reverend Nehemiah Johnson Jr. from Pensacola, Florida, and he's given us some dope advice in regards to fatherhood and stepfatherhood. We're going to continue the conversation in just a few minutes. Keep watching Motivation Moments with Gregory Bloomfield. We'll pay some bills right now. Hey, Life After.
What's up, bro?
Saturdays at 11 a.m.
Every day we competent. You don't have to prove nothing to nobody. Ain't nothing out here. Ain't nothing out there. Ain't nothing out here. Ain't nothing out there. Feel like the world is leaving you behind. You gotta increase your spirit. Yeah. You gotta increase your spirit.
It's hard out here to make a living, but that doesn't mean we gotta sell drugs. I know you want power and respect, you wanna run up a check, but that doesn't mean you gotta be a thug. Got to seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. Eat Jehovah Jireh if it's money you like it. But don't get it twisted, I got energy. Don't expect to get no blessings when you don't feed the needy. Stop looking for them hands up. Thank God for what you have and praise now.
Yeah, we're going to keep going. We're keeping this build up. I hope you're enjoying it. If you're enjoying it, man, stop being a spectator and be a subscriber. Get on the channel, like, share, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. We do this every Sunday evening. Motivation Moments is to motivate you for the week. So yeah, let's join. Amen. Let's join and join on Facebook as well. If you're enjoying this, share the love, share it with a friend. Hey, share it with an enemy. They may become your friend. Amen. So let's continue the conversation with my boy Reverend Nehemiah Johnson. Now let's talk about blended families. We got some real good advice, but I want us to also be real. What were some of the challenges that you experienced living under one roof, 5 kids? I know it wasn't all peaches and cream. There was no way it could have been all peaches and cream. Tell me some of the things that you had to overcome, or some challenges or obstacles, and how you overcame them, or what strategies are you using, because I know there's somebody out there that has a blended family and it is not peaches and cream. So what did you do, man? Give us the scoop. What did you do to help and encourage somebody out there?
Well, I had a pretty smooth transition because me and my wife, we just got married in August. So we haven't even been married a year. And so my son, he was the only one that was living with me because, as I said, my oldest daughter, she's already out on her own. My youngest daughter, she was living with her mother in Texas. So the only person who was living with me was my son. So as soon as we got married, he decided to move out because he wanted to spread his wings and do his own thing. One thing I always told my children, I said, I never kick you out the house. Like some of us, when we turned 18, it was like, hey, you join the military or you going to college, but either way, you getting out of my house. That's what some of us got. And I said that I would never do my children like that. As long as you understand that there's only one Mufasa in this house. That's what I always told my children. Only one Mufasa. It's just like on Lion King. Hey, Mufasa. Anytime that you want to come, you want to be the king of this jungle, it's time for you to leave because it's only one. So that was the thing with me. So with my son, when he decided to leave, hey, it was just like, all right, man, told you don't have to go. You still have a room here. But if you want to go, I give you my blessing and you go. So that's it. All the kids, everybody, they come home at random times and we just make it work. The house is big enough. Everybody got room. Everybody can come in. Everybody, it's just all love.
Yeah. So you basically, your older children don't live in the house with you, but they still have a home to come to if they're ever in town or if they ever need your support. So I'm sure that's the case, correct?
Oh, of course. This is not a boast or brag. It's enough rooms in the house. There's enough beds in the house where everybody can don't have to sleep on top of each other. Everybody has a place to sleep. Everyone knows the code to the door. Everybody knows how to get in. Because even to this day, I'm 43 years old. My parents told me, hey, you can always come home. Life brought me home at a certain point in time where I had to come home. And I still have a key to my parents' house right now. So our kids the same way. We went from keys to codes, but they know how to get in the house. Like, hey, if you got to come home, you can always come home.
That's dope. And like my mother's the same way. And my mother's in Toronto. Shout out. My mom's watching. Hey, Mom, how are you? And one of the things for me is that no matter what, I have a home. You know what I mean? If I ever want to come home, I can go back to my mom's. So as big as I am, I'm going to be 50 in December. It doesn't matter. If I want to go back home to Toronto, I can. However, I would not do that because my kids are here. I'm not going to leave my kids. So there's been times where my mother has come down and stayed with me and given me guidance and helped me out with different things. So yeah, I mean, I say this all the time. I was like, you can divorce your spouse, but you really can't divorce your kids, and you shouldn't, right?
No,
So
we may
you,
not like what they do. Um,
yeah,
yes, we may not like what they do, but something that I'm learning even more is that our relationship, how God has a relationship with us, and how we move and shake, and how we do what we want to do, but He still loves us.
yes,
Um, it's the same way here on earth. If God can do that, we should be able to do that with our own. I
Mhm.
I listen. I promise you, there are things that my older children have done, and I've scratched my head like, "Are you sure you my child? You know, like what are you doing?" But at the same time, yeah, that's my child. And
Mhm.
then God reminds me again, spinning the block. God reminds me, like, hey, remember
Yeah.
you did something like that, or you might have done that itself. One of my mentors, he's another alpha. One of my mentors, he was my former pastor when I lived in Virginia. He had this quote, and he says that our children are nothing but us with the microphone turned up really loud.
Well, that needs to go in the bottom here. Our children are nothing more than us with a microphone turned up loud. That is
That's
so
it.
true.
That's Doctor Bishop Doctor, whichever one go first, Ray Johnson.
Mhm.
Yes, out of Newport News, Virginia. That's what he said. Our children are nothing but us with the microphone turned up really loud. And I was like, that's true.
Yeah,
Very
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I ask if you mind, then I know they're mommy and daddy. Yes, ma'am. Hey, one of the things I can say, like with my own children, it's the same thing. It's like sometimes they do things or they get angry, but then I find that the struggles that I experience with my own children, I gave those exact same struggles with my mother. So when I tell my mother, says like, "Yo, I can't believe my kid did this or said this," she just goes, I remember.
right, right, right.
She just goes, oh, really? Remember when you did this when you were 13? And then I just have to shut up
That's true. I don't
and
even
just,
call my mother anymore about that. Now, when the kids were little, when they were babies, I used to call mama, oh, and you know, I'm from the South, from the deep South. So I would say how my mother said. She's like, I don't know what you're calling me for. Did the same thing. And I'm like, well,
Mhm.
mom,
And you realize you did. Yeah.
I just get off the phone.
Oh.
I don't even call nowadays. I don't call it. What it is. The microphone is very loud.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's, I remember my mother said, the chip don't fall too far from the block, or the apple don't fall too far from the tree. After all, they have your last name, eh? So I have to you know, hope you understand my
Oh, I
Jamaican
got you.
accent. Oh,
I
you
got
got me? All right, all right, all right. But it's but it's like, yeah, it really, that's why sometimes you have to give grace to your kids, because right now my son is really wants to get a car. He's 16, and I'm not ready for him to have that responsibility. I want him to finish school first. But I can't get mad at him because I was once that way, right? I wanted my independence. I wanted my manhood and flex my. I was adult in body, but I still had a kid's mind. So my mother had to stand strong and say, no, I hated it. But she said no. But I understand why, and I'm glad. So, these are the things. It says everything is cycles in life. You know what I mean? It's the
That's it.
cycles of life. Yeah. Hey, tell me something else. Like, so you've been married for less than a year.
Mhm.
Obviously, it took some time for your wife, because your wife is a stepmother now. And I know on When the Right One Comes, you all bragged and boasted about your wife, and I'm sure she's wonderful. What was that journey like with your biological kids? Like, how was it like? How was it with your wife, their stepmother, and your kids. How did that blossom and grow?
How did that blossom grow? Is that I just brought them around. Once me and her we got serious, then just bring her around again. I told her to be herself. I told her that now those older kids, they like sharks. They definitely can smell blood. They can smell it. They will find out very quickly if you're not who you say you are. You know, uh, again, having those type of conversations with the children, say, hey, this the woman I want to be with. This the woman I'm planning on marrying. What you all think? And at that age, it was like, hey, as long as she treats you right, we good. Because oftentimes we hear people come to you and they say, hey, you know, you might make sure you treat your wife right, you do her right, so on and so forth. But I don't believe in happy wife, happy life. I don't believe in that at all. I believe in happy spouse, happy house because we're both in this.
Right.
You know, we both are invested in this in every aspect of the way. So when it came down to that, when my children said, as long as she treats you right, we're good, Dad. Cool. You know, they come around, my kids come around, they, of course, they're respectful because I raised that way. They're respectful, but again, it's just like, hey, we grown. You know, we don't need our diapers changed. We don't need you to take us anywhere because everybody got driver's license. Matter of fact, everybody got their own car. So it's just like, hey, we're good.
Right. All right. Yeah. So I think that's very good that it went smoothly like that. And you know that it's not always that way, right? I think as well, when it comes to you're dating someone with kids, it matters when you introduce them to your children. I think sometimes people get introduced too soon.
Oh, of course, because everybody, because we do have a question in the chat, but
Yes.
I'll say this real fast. Everybody isn't your next spouse. Everybody's not.
Right.
So until you know that you know that you know, because your kids will come numb to it, like, okay, I believe it was on Baby Kids. It was on some movie that came out. A little kid walked up to me and said, "Are you my daddy?" You know, you don't want your children to have that type of mindset. Yeah, you don't. So that's all I gotta say on that.
Yeah, let's address the question that was. Can we put that back up? So, what advice do you have for single parents raising the opposite sex? What advice do you have for single parents raising the opposite sex? What you got?
So raising the opposite sex, get mentors. Yes, get mentors. You can only TD Jakes just said this, I believe, last week, Father's Day, and he said that, hey, no matter how much of a mother that you are, no matter what you say, you'll never be able to tell a man how to be a man. And he said the same thing as far as men being able to tell a woman how to be a woman. You can't do it. Get mentors, get positive male role models. You have local fraternities and sororities that have mentorship groups. Like my fraternity, my local fraternity here, we have groups to where from 9th through 12th grade, and we mentor them. We take them on trips, colleges, teach them etiquette, banking. We teach them all type of things, life skills. We teach them those things. Get that child around other people. And just be honest and transparent with that child. If you're a single parent, definitely be honest and transparent with that child. Say, listen, I don't know everything it is about bras. I don't know nothing about a bra. You know, my daughter's going Victoria's Secret. I'm like, I'll be outside. You know, just let me know, you know, how much I need to pay. You know, other than that, like, hey, say, I don't know. So since I don't know, let me get you around some positive people, that's trusted people that can help with the things that you're dealing with at this point in life.
Exactly. I remember when Isabel was really little, and I would have her and her brother every other weekend, and I didn't know how to do her hair. So Yeah, people at my church. I remember a lady, a friend of mine, her name's Cheryl Ann. She said, bring her to the church early, right? Bring her to the church early, and I'll show you what to do with her hair, right? And now she's older, she can do her own hair. But the point is that, mentors, I'm not gonna pretend that I know how to do those types of things. So I deferred it to some people in the church who didn't want to get with me, right? Their motives were pure, right? And sometimes you get with the wrong woman and they actually want you, they don't want your child. And when they get you, then they kick your child.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Get people, so get the older ladies to help you out, right? Don't get them anyway. That we got 5 minutes left. So is there anything else that you'd like to share, like closing remarks, and tell us about your store? And because you can do part 2 on the women that got anyway. I want to keep my audience, so let me stop. So tell us about your story. Tell us how we can reach you, and give us some closing remarks, some encouragement to the single parents out there, single dads, and who are looking to get into a blended family or who already are in a blended family.
So that's a lot. Okay, a few minutes. So let's see. As I'm a business owner, I own Viola's Men's Apparel in Pensacola, Florida. You can find us on social media at Viola's 850. That's VIOLAS 850. We are the only Black-owned menswear store in my city. We're locally owned, veteran-owned, all that good stuff. So if you want anything from the store, just look us up on social media. Not only do you look us up on social media, we do have a web page that has certain suits that we carry in the store. That's violasmenswear.com, but that's also linked on the social media. As going back to the whole parenthood thing, again, just be honest, just be loving, pray as much as you can, teach your children how to pray. Not only do you do that, seek help. There are great books.
Yes.
My brother here has good books now. So
Thanks for the plug. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So get books, get mentors, get your community, get your tribe to help you out as much as possible, and know that you're going to make mistakes. You are not perfect at all, but as long as you try your hardest, and they say in football, when you leave it all on the field,
Yes,
your
sir.
children will thank you when it's all said and done. That's my
Yes, sir. Thank you. Nehemiah Johnson, y'all. Put your appreciation in the chat. Tell him thank you. Say amen. Follow him. I'll put his link up there on the screen again. And thanks for the plug on the book. I got a real good book called Parenting Teens: A Tongue of War to Adulthood. I think that you should read that book, even if you're going to be a step parent. So Sister Pamela with 2 L's, PamelaPublishing.com. Follow Nehemiah. If you're ever in the Pensacola area, please stop by his store. Let's support Black businesses, Black clothing, apparel stores, Black authors, and especially dope Black dads. If you see a dope Black father with 2 L's, Sister Pamela Publishing, if you see a good Black father, salute them. Just say, hey, I appreciate you, King. Yeah. And make sure that you always just compliment them. And the same thing with the ladies. If you see a woman who's doing her best with her children, salute them. Say, hey, you're doing an amazing job. I see you, and salute them, because it's not easy. And if you see a blended family, pray for them, support them. Make sure that you're always, positive with them, because the Black family is hard enough. So just keep prayers for our families. The enemy wants to attack the family. So let's pray for our kids, our spouses, and our community so that we could be stronger, one family at a time. The Cash App was there at bloomfieldting. And support us all in what we're trying to build. Next month we're starting in July. The theme for July is renew and transform. Renew and transform. So I got a whole bunch of powerful guests. You'll see the flyer coming out. If you really enjoyed this conversation, thank you, Dawn. Please subscribe to the channel, like this, share it with others, inquire about sponsorship, support the books, support Nehemiah, support us all so that we can all grow together as a community. My name is Gregory Bloomfield. This is Nehemiah Johnson. We signing out right now. Be encouraged, be motivated, be inspired. My name is Gregory Bloomfield. Good night and have a blessed week. God bless you.
Crazy spirit.